Good morning, everyone. I should stop the video and start again, right? Look at me. uh, well, what do you want to do? Right? Pretend who you are or just show the people who you are, right? Yes? Okay. I'm not a great pretender. I've never been. That's just something I'm not quite sure. All right. As if you've watched a few videos, you know, I speak from a heart to mind. I don't have a script in front of me except the Bible that I read out of, and that is that. And to draw from my experiences, right, is it in the physical or the spiritual, I have to tell the truth. And if going back, right, and something triggers a memory again of something I already talked about, it's got to go along the same lines. Right? Yes? Because when you lie, yeah, you forget what you lied about, this and that. You know what I mean? Okay. So I like to just be me. I've learned a long time to just be me. I tried. I tried to please, yeah, others by being different. I was very, very unhappy because I couldn't see, well, why can't that just be me? I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not mean to anyone. I'm not, right? Why do I have to be a certain way just to fit what? A stereotype out there? All right, I'm just saying, if it was as a mother, I don't think I need this, do I? It did. Oh, I do need it. Was it as a mother, a wife, just a woman, a friend? I had to do. I wanted to do, and that's how I was the happiest. What felt the most pleasing to whom? Yes, God. All right. I came across something just really interesting. I've been thinking about that. My grandma must be, hey, Grozy. We called her Grozy. That was my grandma. And all my grandchildren call me Grozy, right? They can't say Grozy, right? Yeah, okay. Grozy. They call me Grozy. I'm Grozy to everyone. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I told my husband yesterday, I said, when I start having great grandchildren, I'm going to teach them how to call me Urgrosi. Yes, yeah, I'm Urgrosi to them. So I'm going to be Grosi to my grandchildren and Urgrosi to my great grandchildren. Yes, yeah. Do I think that's important? Uh huh. Yes, I do. To differentiate between generations, yes, I believe is important to see what? The progression towards what? Unity in the family. God's heart in the family. Yes. And of course, our heart all where? With God. I was 16. Gosh, might have been younger. Can't quite remember now. 15. I ran away from home. And the only place I knew to run to was my Grosie's home. And I got there, gosh, about 8 o'clock in the evening. And she opened the door and says, "Oh, what are you doing here?" You know, in Switzerland, first of all, things are so close together. You can walk there, though she did live about 5 miles from where we lived at the time. Or you can take a bus. You know, you always had a few, at that age, I was already working. I had a few dollars in my pocket. So I got there and she opened it. She said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm done. I'm done being at home. I don't want to be there anymore." And she said, "Uh-huh. So what did you do exactly?" I said, "I ran away from home. So your mom doesn't know where you're at?" And I said, "Nope." And she said, "Come on in." We sat down, told her the story, and then she said, "Okay, so let's call your mom now." And I'm going, "What?" said, yeah, let's call your mom. Let her know where you're at. Then we'll decide what's going to happen next. I'm like, what? What did I? Anyway, she calls my mom, and guess what? My mom didn't just say, I'll keep her there. What do I care? No, my mom showed up just a few minutes after she had called her, comes in, we have a talk about whatever, and then she says, I think it would be a good thing if you just stayed here and you think about what you want to do. And she went back home, and my grandma allowed me. This wasn't just, oh, my grandchild, of course he can't. No. She told me, she said, I'm going to allow you to stay here tonight. Oh, we had a great evening. My grandma was great. She was the only grandparent I ever knew. And she was a great grandma. Was it like, oh, she cooked so great or this? No, it was her presence. It was just her presence. My grandma was really calm. Okay, she kind of had to be calm. She had more heart surgeries than anyone else that I know. Okay, and on one heart surgery, they kind of messed up her balance. They gave her something of too much medication or something, and she ended up having balance issues. And had a little dog, Fifi. Fifi ended up with us later on, but she had Fifi, or was it the other way around? Can't remember. Well, I was really young when we got Fifi. And Fifi kind of helped her, though it was just a little dachshund hunt kind of mix or something, helped her walk on the streets. Just a little pull that Fifi somehow knew what my grandma needed, kept her being able to walk, right? Yes. But my grandma was a really steady, calm, even kind of creek rolling down the hills kind of thing. Yeah. And we all loved our Gruzy. That experience I had with my grandma and on how she handled it taught me a lot in my life. One thing, yeah, honey, if you think that using my status as the grandma, now you get to disobey your parents. Over what? My grandma knew I had a wonderful mom. Okay? Yes? And her son was actually my dad, who, had his own problems, kind of thing. So my grandma knew I had a wonderful mom, and that she would never work against her daughter-in-law when it came to their children. Okay? Oh, wow. What a mother-in-law. And on how trying, so she was instinctively, or she just says, yeah, I got it, but girl, this is not going the way you think it's going to go, because you think I'm going to give you sympathy over something that you need to work out somewhere else. Right? But she was willing to be the mediator. She was willing to give the parties to calm down and then tackle it from there. Right? Yes? Okay. That's what grandparents do. As grandparents, one does not, and I found that within myself as well, one does not interfere with the raising of children, of your daughters or your sons or your son-in-laws or your daughter-in-laws, when you know they are on the side of goodness. Okay? If there's abuse going on, well, you better step in. Sadly, I've seen grandparents out there with those grandchildren right in the house, with their mothers abusing them. And they thought they could come and tell me about it. And I would just go, well, and I said, look, you better do something about it. Now, you told me about it. someone needs to be reported, or you need to put your foot down and not let that happen again. Okay. Two sides. Right? Yes? Well, anyway, know. Right? Know when it is right to step in. Know when it is wrong to force your own ideas upon what? Okay. That's what I remember about the only grandparent that I was ever around. The wisdom she had when it came on how one works together in an extended family. And that a child, and I was a teenager, a child, still a child, does not dictate what. And as I said, my grandma knew there was no abuse going on there. It was hard-headed Daniela, stubborn, wanting to do her own thing, also on the side of goodness. But the stronger structure in that family unit is my mom, was my mom, and my grandma knew that. I feel sometimes that as people out there having relationships with other people, it's the same thing. If we're being, kind of pulled into something, a problem of other people together that they're struggling with, we should really examine what our position and what our role is in all of it. And make sure that we don't end up abusing a situation for the benefit of the one or the other, because we want to see someone fail and someone else to succeed, even though, what would be the better thing to happen when it comes to a whole situation, right? Yes? That's what I wanted to share this morning. That I find in many ways that the guidance from spirit world becomes very apparent if we're willing to acknowledge it, right? And not get derailed by favoritism. Do you know what I mean? Favoritism. I've said this before. I have no idea how people do it with letting children know, all of them, who their favorite is, and then even among the grandchildren, I've always felt that I've had a very special relationship with each one of my children, and I have a very special relationship with each one of my grandchildren that cannot be compared to each other. Right? There is not one is better than the other, or one's more successful than the other, or one has done greater things than the other. That does not exist in my vocabulary, or in my vocabulary of intentions and looking at situations and knowing what unity is. What unity is supposed to be, how human beings are supposed to be working together in a family, and on, according to God's guidance, what the right thing is to do when it comes to all that. And if people have these, oh, but I do like, then you have a problem. It's not the child that has a problem, it's you who has a problem. Okay? The duplicity in many of these things that I've seen amongst families is really disturbing to me, and one wants to say something. I've had a family here one time, rather the mother with her 3 children. There was a older boy of about 10. There was a middle child of about 6, 7, and then there was a girl about 5. The mother was really young. Okay, so they were all here, and it was known to me ahead of time that the boy, the middle boy, had already spent time, guess where? In the psych ward. That 6, 7-year-old boy, come on now, are you serious? That he had threatened his mother in a way that this mother felt that boy needed to, okay, be admitted. All right, just saying. So they were all here, and I'm watching. I could tell that the older boy and the girl were already trained to regard their brother as a problem. I could tell that the boy in this unit of mom and 3 and siblings stood all alone. Okay, I don't know what the beginnings of all that was. And I watched the boy. And I brought out the Legos and I started playing, and immediately I noticed on how the boy with the supposed problems was aggravated on purpose by his other siblings. Yeah, it was really interesting to watch. So this is what I did when I noticed that. I went and I disciplined the older boy and I disciplined the younger sister. The older brother, the younger sister, and I went, what are you guys doing? Why aren't you letting him build what he wants to build? Because this seems to be something he's really interested in. Why aren't you guys helping him find the pieces rather than hiding them and taking them away? But then he notices and he's addressing that, and becomes frustrated and a bit angry. Why are you doing that? I asked those two. The mother was listening as well. Okay. And both of them were, it's almost as if they were caught. And I thought, who taught them that? To pick on their brother who's already struggling with something. Loneliness, exclusiveness. Yes? I ended up having a really nice conversation with him and realized that that child's not the problem. It's the parent. And the parent included the older sibling and the younger sibling in the problem. And that boy had no other way than to kick, fight, and I don't know what, his way through that unity. Did you hear what I said? He wasn't a part of that family unity. For some reason, that completely broke down for one reason or another, and he became the problem, though he wasn't the problem. The other 3, the mother and the other 2 siblings, were the problem. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway, one of my daughters was good friends with that one, and after I felt that having a conversation with the parent around the children was the wrong thing to do, so I told my daughter and said, I would like you to convey that to her and on what's going on, and that she's going to have to make these 3 children the work of her life. That's it. Not another boyfriend, not whatever. These, if she doesn't want more complications within her family unit that she hasn't had at that time. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them in a long time. And I guess in a way, all it was is just for me to see at least. And I did give the boy, I said, you need to be aware of what you're doing. I know you're very young, but you're very smart. And you don't have the tools yet to be able to walk through all this, the hell that he's walking through, in a way where it is not going to backfire on you. So I said, you need to concentrate on building things, not destroying them. I felt this boy, even at, I think he was seven, pretty sure he was 6, between 6 and 7. He was attentively listening. And I could tell that maybe this is the first time that someone didn't look at him as if he was just a problem, but that he had worth within himself besides creating problems. Yes. Or being looked at as this little evil demon or something. Ugh, gosh, ugh. So what do we do as people? So I'm someone like my grandma was, on the outside of a family unit per se. Okay, my grandma's much closer to that family unit. Of course, an extended part of it. But here I got to see, I was on the outside of a family unit, and what could I do? What could I do there? Of course, I'm sorry. I will always be, okay, in a way, on the side of the child, or at least to figure out what's going on with the child before I just agree with the parent on how bad their own kid is. That's right there. That's like something's not right there, right? Yes? Yeah. All I can say is to people out there, when a child comes to you, make sure that you know the whole story. Number one. Even when a parent comes to you, make sure you know the whole story. And that then, according to that, you are remembering that we're talking about a family unit here. It's supposed to work together. It's supposed to be harmonious and peaceful. If there's abuse, true abuse going on, okay, then it has to be reported. Yes? Or addressed, at least. Don't let a child suffer because you're good friends with the parents. No. But if that's absent and it's just conflict, make sure that you work as a mediator towards unity, even between couples who have problems. You're a mediator towards working towards unity, not destruction. Yes? Okay, that's what I wanted to share. Okay, let's get going here. We're in the last chapter of the first book of Chronicles, 29. Yes. I already read the first part yesterday. I'm not going to get back into that. So, oh, wait a minute. But I'm reading out of a different Bible. I thought I was going to get away with it. Not going to get away with it. I hear you. Okay. Then, last chapter, you guys. Okay, it's got to be a good one. Unity. Don't talk about David because I want to discredit him for everything. We're talking restoration, same thing. David too has to realize, what the heck did you do to God's people? For your own selfish reasons. Yes? Yeah? And work towards what? Reconciliation between our Heavenly Parent and David. Yes? Okay. All right. Then King David turned to the entire assembly and said, my son Solomon, whom God has chosen to be the next king of Israel, is still young and inexperienced, and the work ahead of him is enormous. For, yeah, that's right. He gave, you see, I need to talk more. He gave Solomon such a great burden. An enormous task is ahead of Solomon to build that temple. Rather than doing what? What's a king for? What were kings for? To just leech off the people, live a lavish life, have all them wives and concubines and who knows what, and all them kids running around, Enoch. Accrue material things from left to right. The more valuable, the better. And what about the people? Anyway. Solomon was too busy building the temple to do war. Okay, there you go. Good thing. All right, all right, all right. I'm just saying. Ugh. For the temple he will build is not just another building, it is for the Lord God himself. Yeah, yeah. Using every resource at my command, I have gathered as much as I could for building it. Enough gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and great quantities of onyx, other precious stones, costly jewels, and marble. And now, because of my devotion to the temple of God, his devotion to the temple of God, okay, I am giving all of my own private treasures to aid in the construction. He's dying, right? At that time, he's already old and dying. Give it all away. Oh, why not? Hmm. This is in addition to the building materials I have already collected. These personal contributions consist of, oh, here's the dollar sign, 85,000. No. 85, 85 million dollars worth of gold from Ophir and $20 million worth of purest silver to be used for overlaying the walls of the buildings. You know, I always wonder when people have all this money, what the heck are you doing with all that money? I'm serious. I mean, who needs to have that much money to live? Just wondering. At that time, no doubt, this was an ungodly amount of money. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, all right, I got it. I just, I think when someone is blessed with making so much money, think of how much good you could actually do all over the place. I know some people do, but the people who, okay, I'm not going to go there. That's not I'm sorry, not my area. Thanks for reminding me. Everybody has their own free will and chooses, right? Yes? Okay. This will be used for the articles made of gold and silver and for the artistic decorations. Now then, who will follow my example? Who will give himself and all that he has to the Lord? What did I just say? When I think of what you could do with all that money, yes? Ugh, well, number one, go and find all the children that are out there on their own. Not enough to eat, no bed to sleep. Okay, just saying. All the abused children, please give them a good home with good people who, even though they're not their own, or maybe they have to live in a group home, just please. Yes? Mm. Animals? Okay, all right. You know, even if people live on the street, all we see is they live on the street. What we don't realize is some want to live that way. And the one reason is they are not willing to give up what maybe they're addicted to or into, this and that. But to have places where they can go at least and have a couple of meals a day, right? Yes? To go and warm up for a while before they go back out so they can be still free and do what they want to do. Is it my, should it be my judgment if to tell them that they need to prolong their life by cleaning up this or that, I don't know what? Should it be my will to tell these people, yeah, no, you should be walking around in nice clothes and cleaned up and wash yourself, this and that, if maybe that's not what they're looking for? That in the way that we judge a person by their outside may not what's going on the inside. But due to the fact and how they're walking through life, there's some things we can do Make sure that they know they can go to this place or that place to go and take care of a wound or this or that for free. That they can go to this place or that place and get a bowl of something to eat, this and that, right? That they can go to this or that place and there'll be a warm coat or a blanket that they may need to sleep on the outside, on the floor, someplace. Do you know what I mean? Do you know why I'm saying that? Because there's plenty of all of that to go around to end up where? In the dump. Anything I mentioned here, is it food, some medical care, clothing? There's plenty of it available out there, not being used, and ends up where? Okay, medical care. Right? You want to be a doctor, you want to be a healer, then start with the poorest of the poor. Yes? And do your best, the best that you can, with the little that you got to work with. Yeah. They're probably not going to need an MRI, this or that, no matter, or cancer treatments, this, no matter how sick they are. All they need is just a little care to make it through the next day. Do you know what I mean? That's just the life of some people. Yes? I think it's a little different with teenagers. I don't have it all figured out. But then with children, okay. Well, anyway. Who will give himself and all that he has to the Lord? But what is he asking for? Right? Yes? Okay. That's why I just told you. Is David's mind, is David's heart to mind really united with God? Or what's he doing here, really? Yes? Then the clan leaders, the heads of the tribes, the army officers, and the administrative officers of the king pledged $145 million in gold, 50,000 in foreign currency, and $30 million in silver, 800 tons of bronze, and 4,600 tons of iron. They also contributed great amounts of jewelry, which were deposited at the temple treasury with Yael, a descendant of Gershom. Everyone was excited and happy for this opportunity of service, and King David was moved with deep joy. Okay. While still in the presence of the whole assembly, David expressed his praises to the Lord. O Lord God of our father Israel, praise your name forever and ever. Yours is the mighty power and glory and victory and majesty. Wow, I bet, what did I talk about to begin with? The favoritism among children. I bet God just loved King David and all that money and gold and silver and I don't know what that was given to build his temple. All right. Wow. Interesting God. Never met that God in my whole entire life. Not that one. David. O Lord God of our father Israel, praise your name forever and ever. Yours is the mighty power and glory and victory and majesty. Everything in the heavens and earth is yours. O Lord, and this is your kingdom. We adore you as being in control of everything. Riches and honor come from you alone, and you are the ruler of all mankind. Your hand controls power and might, and it is at your discretion that men are made great and given strength. And our God, we thank you and praise your glorious name. I'm getting madder by the word. But who am I and who are you, my people, that we should be permitted to give anything to you? Everything we have has come from you, and we only give you what is yours already. That's a weird fallible something. And either I get mad or I look at the humorous side in all this and go, wow, okay. Let's learn from it. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. Don't get me wrong. Oh, right. You better not get me wrong. But, okay. For we are here for but a moment, strangers in a land, as our fathers were before us. Our days on earth are like a shadow, gone so soon, without a trace. Ooh. O Lord our God, all of this material that we have gathered to build a temple for your holy name comes from you. Of course, it all belongs to you. Mm-mm. I know, my God, that you test me to see if they are good, for you enjoy good men. Men, David was good. I have done all this with good motives, and oh yeah, and I have watched your people offer their gifts willingly and joyously. Okay, listen, I wasn't there. I'm gonna go with it. Father, you got what we have to love our children who, yes? All right. Sometimes they do interesting things. You got to look at them going, well, I wonder what that was all about. Okay. Now, let's get back on track here, buddy. Okay. uh, uh, yes, I did try to start this out with what? On the right foot. And you guys, I was getting mad. I was getting mad by the word, and now I'm realizing, you got to go back to what did you start out with? Yes? Okay. Ay, 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 ay. O Lord, God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, make your people always want to obey you, and see to it that their love for you never changes. Give my son Solomon a good heart toward God, so that he will want to obey you in the smallest detail, and will look forward eagerly to finishing the building of your temple, for which I have made all of these preparations. I'm waiting for something and it's not coming. Let's see. Then David said to all the people, give praise to the Lord your God. And they did, bowing low before the Lord and the king. Let's wait and see if it's still coming on what I'm waiting for. Give praise to the Lord your God. And they did, bowing low before the Lord and the king. The next day they brought 1,000 young bulls, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 lambs as burnt offerings to the Lord. They also offered drink offerings and many other sacrifices on behalf of all Israel. Then they feasted and drank before the Lord with great joy. Who drank and feasted before the Lord with great joy? Exactly. And again they crowned King David's son Solomon as their king. They anointed him before the Lord as their leader, and they anointed Zadok as their priest. So God appointed Solomon to take the throne of his father David, and he prospered greatly, and all Israel obeyed him. Solomon. The national leaders, the army officers, and his brothers all pledged their allegiance to King Solomon, and the Lord gave him great popularity with all the people of Israel. Bird in the house again. And he amassed, the door's open, and he amassed even greater wealth and honor than his father. He amassed even greater wealth and honor than his father. Isn't that what got his father into deep trouble? All right. David was king of the land of Israel for 40 years, 7 of them during his reign in Hebron and 33 in Jerusalem. He died at an old age, wealthy and honored, and his son Solomon reigned in his place. Detailed biographies of King David have been written in the history of Samuel the prophet, the history written by Nathan the prophet, and in the history written by prophet Gad. These accounts tell of his reign and of his might, and all that happened to him and to Israel and the kings of the nearby nations. Hallelujah! We're done with this one. I was waiting to see if David at all would repent. Oh, he did. Okay, guys. I think that David should have bowed with the people to God, don't you think? Not the people bowing to God and the king. Don't you think? Something's not right there, right? Yes? No? Okay. Well, anyway. Oh, I know how people look at this because it's still like that, where you bow to the king assigned by God, which God has never assigned a king in our in the entirety of our existence as human beings. That the king wants to be looked at as a representative of God. I have no doubt if that were the truth, then Jesus would have been born as a king, prince, to become a king. But he didn't. That should tell us something. Yes? Okay. I'm not going to say a whole lot to this because it seems like if I were to just read one little part out of, today's Rima, then I would not be able to put the Bible together in the way that I'm doing and on how I feel about on how often people are just abusing the Bible. Even that. Just abuse the Bible. Oh, but that's not what I'm doing. You're not? You're sure you're not? I think with what I started out with, to what the main thing that I always felt with anything I've learned about, more learned about spirit world, and especially God, okay, is the family unit. And what is that to God? Who's his family? Oh, in this case, it would be the Israelites. Uh-huh. Yeah, he started out with some of his children, or that, okay. But what is God's end goal here? Of course, that no matter how many people lived on earth or are in spirit world, that they all will become what? His children. Isn't that what we're supposed to be? All of his children. And yeah, there's going to be some that, what did I say about that experience I had with the boy, the mom, and the siblings? Okay, that was a mom and the siblings. That was at one parent and the sibling. Could be two parents, different siblings. Could be the father and siblings. And one child ends up what? Being what? Huh? A black sheep. I find that incredibly offensive to say that. And I was not the black sheep. Maybe I became it later on. To begin with. All right. I was the odd sheep out. Our Father, right? 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 Yes. What is God's family? Huh? Yes? Just a few selected ones, like people want you to believe? Yes? Everyone. Everyone. Every last one. From the first one to the absolute last one, if that ever happens, we are all God's children. True sons, true daughters, and in spirit world, we'll all become brothers and sisters to each other, regardless. Think of that. I've said this before, heavenly parents, right? Well, we call God He, the Father, which is fine and good because the head of the household, the head of the table is, when it comes down to it, the protector, the Father. Within God, there is Father and Mother. Okay? Yes, of course. He is the ultimate heavenly parent and parent in some languages encompass both father and mother. Because once a couple, a man and a woman, become one, they're what? The ideal of God, the image of God. It's not that hard to understand, is it? So that's how, that's why in spirit world we all become brothers and sisters to each other. Yes, and live there for eternity and get to, I can't wait. Okay. One would think, what the heck are you going to do in eternity somewhere? As what? The spirit? What does that even feel like? Right? Yes? People, all I can tell you is do your best here on earth. I'm just saying, try. We're learning, we're restoring. It's okay. And our ancestors are with us if, yes, we're in the right state of mind. And eternity won't feel that way. Yes? Hard to describe. Yes, I experienced some of it in very small doses. On again, how is that going to work? How is eternity going to? And it's the realms of spirit world that I've seen that expresses eternity is incredibly amazing. I say this, I was like, I could talk all day long and never be done. I would need extra time to, and in spirit world, to express everything and go on and on and on. And I could talk all day long about things. I get up in the morning and my poor sister-in-law already has to listen. You know what? This came to my mind and I'm thinking, and here I'm going to the bathroom. She's in the other room. There I'm probably going, oh my God, Daniela's already starting. Right? Yes? And I'll go on and on and on and on and on till I realize I think I should let her just calmly get ready for work. I've experienced some places in spirit world where I could see the never-ending, endless discussions over things, but in a really amazing, constructive way, where words don't just use oxygen and release carbon, okay, where words actually build us surroundings, okay. Yes. Okay. Other places where science science is all about atoms and particles okay, I want to say without the substance, yet so difficult to explain what I experienced. Yet who whatever spirits I've seen there, they have this, it's a never ending, the never ending process of creating color, creating sound, creating air with, for example, though air doesn't exist there, right? Yet, okay, it's too difficult to try to explain exactly on what I've experienced there several times, on what eternity means, and on how absolutely fabulous and exciting that is. Yes? Mm. And the realms are infinite as well. So how could you ever be done? You're not. When we uh, when we truly enter spirit world with the knowledge, the wisdom, the everything we've learned within the physical realm, combined with the spiritual realm, death is what we call death, what we're afraid of, death, or people are afraid of death here, will be your actual birth into spirit world. Your actual birth as who you are. So one could say, in a way, yeah, that the time that you have here on Earth is you're in an incubator. With all kinds of toys and this and that around you. Just depends on what you do with it, right? Okay, that was kind of a little funny, but that's kind of what it feels like to me when I think of spirit world and the certain things shown to me there that I experienced, and I just went, whew. And again, it wasn't, that's crazy. It's my heart just went, whew. And it's like this, whew. I just felt it again. Every time. This absolute explosion of opening up, light coming through this net. Okay, all right. Too hard, too difficult to understand for most people. All right, I got to get going. This is enough for today, right? Yes. Not sure what planet I am on right now. It is this planet. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to y'all another time.